What's up everybody, I am Mongoose, you are awesome, and this is my mid lane tutorial for new players. As the mid laner, it is of course your responsibility to defend the mid lane tier 1 tower. More importantly, as the most centrally located member of your team, it's your responsibility to rotate to and assist with fights that may break out. This may be assisting the safe lane in pushing back a multi-hero gank, contributing to a gank conducted by your own team in the enemy safe lane, helping your jungler defend against an invasion from an enemy jungler, or simply giving your offlaner a breather so they can refill resources and spend some card points. Part of your job also includes denying the enemy jungler access to the river buff located between your mid lane and off lane. And when you get to the lane, it's pretty much just like any other hero. You're looking for last hits. Now, I try to not unlock any of my abilities until I absolutely need them. However, if you don't trust yourself to do that in the middle of a battle, I would suggest unlocking your escape ability first. Whenever I'm playing jungler and I hear, say, a Gideon drop a cosmic rift on the very first wave, that's like ringing a dinner bell. That's like ringing a dinner bell. I know that he has no escape and that he's going to be an easy gank. Now I'm playing bots, so they're going to be hyper aggressive here. We'll just kind of poke at him till he leaves. I'm not 100% certain he's going to leave, so let's, I don't know, maybe we'll just kill him? Let's pop him in with our mine, let him eat some tower damage. There we go, now we got rid of the stupid bot. Now what you want to do when you get into lane is focus on getting last hits. Just like any other hero in any other lane, you need CP just as much as anyone else, so try and get your last hits. I missed that one, but that's alright, we'll get it, we'll let that one slide, we'll get it on the next round. So when you're in the mid lane, try not to cross the middle of the river unless you need to. That makes you susceptible to ganks. So I'm not saying never cross the middle of the river. Just remember that the risk needs to be worth the reward. Also, when you get into lane, don't just start blasting all of your abilities on the minion waves. Save some of your mana for when you may really need it. Now let's discuss some solid picks for mid lane heroes. While any hero can technically be played in the mid lane, these heroes will offer the best results. My suggested picks would be Lieutenant Bellica, Howitzer, Gideon, Gadget, and the Fae. What all of these heroes have in common are powerful abilities that can clear waves of minions quickly and a crowd control / escape ability. The reason wave clear is so important for a mid laner is because if you are rotating to assist with team fights, you may come back to your lane to find a huge minion push at your tower. Your abilities will help to push them back. Conversely, if your team is planning on a gank that you are going to participate in, you can use your abilities to quickly unfreeze your lane and get your minions pushing into the enemy tower while you are away from lane. Your crowd control abilities will help keep you out of danger. As the most centrally located hero, you are susceptible to enemy ganks, and will also assist your team with either escaping death or setting up a kill. Some other picks that are common for the mid lane but require a bit more skill and experience and technical proficiency include Shinbi, Countess, Iggy and Scorch, and Morgesh. Shinbi has great wave clear and escape but no crowd control. Countess has great wave clear but minimal crowd control, and her escape takes a large amount of skill. Iggy and Scorch can hold a tower all game long, but they lack crowd control. Morgesh is a powerful hero but lacks crowd control, and her wave clear is a bit lackluster when compared to other casters. Now let's get into the game. Let's discuss the different types of wards. There are two basic wards you can get. A 1 card point cost Scouts ward that will reveal an area for 90 seconds. Charges refresh every 60 seconds. The Scouts ward will be visible to everyone and will not reveal enemies or wards in the shadow plane. Shadow wards are 3 point cost cards that offer stat gains. They are also upgradable. Shadow wards will reveal an area for 3 minutes with charges refreshing every 120 seconds. Shadow wards will reveal other shadow wards as well as enemies in the shadow plane. When placing wards, it's very important to remember that wards use line of sight. So if I place this ward right here, even though it looks like the vision extends beyond that shadow wall, fog wall, it would not extend beyond the fog wall. Same with here, and same with ledges. If I were to place a ward up here, it wouldn't see down below the ledge that I was just standing on. If you place a ward, you want to place it somewhere beyond the shadow wall to give you better vision, and place it somewhere they wouldn't expect. If you have some really good places to place your wards in the mid lane, let me know, because I just pretty much just put them in the river. And of course, if raptors are up, try and place them on the raptors. Now, if I'm placing wards in the river between my lane and the safe lane, I like to try and butt them as close as I can up against the wall. That makes it more difficult for the enemy mid laner to deward your wards. They have a hard time shooting down at that weird angle. And speaking of dewarding, whenever you have wards up and you see an enemy ward, try and take that enemy ward out if you can do so safely. That way you deny them vision, and it makes it easier for your jungler to gank, and it makes it, of course, safer for you. When you're playing in the mid lane, pay attention to the clock. When it's starting to come up on 3 minutes, 3 minutes is when the river buffs spawn. The river buffs spawn at 3 minutes and then every 2 minutes thereafter. So when the clock is rolling over to an odd number, the river buffs are going to spawn. Oftentimes, the enemy jungler will try and get the river buff located between your lane and your off lane. This is where some of your poke abilities come into play. You can actually hit the river buff safely from this ledge here. Now, of course the bots aren't quite coordinating with me, but that's a good way to pick up the river buff on your own and steal it from the jungler. And you can do so in complete safety if you pick a hero with good poke damage. Now there's another river buff that spawns between your lane and the safe lane. The river buffs not only provide a unique buff, but they also give you mana regen. Let's take a quick look at the different river buffs and the mana regen they provide and the buffs that they provide. All of the river buffs will give you 35 mana regen for 5 seconds, making any buff worth picking up. Each different color buff offers a unique buff to your hero. The red buff will give you 25% more damage to your abilities, lasting for 40 seconds. The blue buff will grant you with 100 movement speed for 25 seconds. The black buff grants a damage over time effect to your basic attack for 40 seconds. The purple buff will place you in the shadow plane for 40 seconds or until you attack something. Now let's take everything we've learned and rotate for a gank. Go ahead and grab the black buff, which is going to help us push this lane. Notice in the bottom right hand corner you see the my XP counter is at 4 and it's filling up rather quickly, which means I'm going to hit 5, which means I will have my ultimate ability, which is a great time to go in for a gank. My lane is pushed up pretty well. The enemy mid laner is missing, so I'm going to go ahead, rotate over and try and gank the enemy's safe lane. I would prefer to get the carry, but if the Fae is all I can get, then the Fae is all I can get. So we'll go ahead and slow her down with our crowd control abilities. We pop her up, hit our ultimate, which I did that kind of the wrong order, but we get the kill anyway. Preferably you'd want to use your ultimate and then use your mind to pop them in, but this isn't a howitzer building guide. This is a mid lane tutorial. We were able to successfully rotate in and gank. Now let's go back and check on our lane. Since we were away, it is now pushed up towards our tower and our minions are starting to go down. So we need to come back here and clear it back out. And that's how you do it. That's going to be it for now. That was a very basic look at the mid lane. There are more advanced guides out there. Check out some of the other YouTubers and see their channels. Try and gather as much information as you can to make yourself the best mid laner that you can. I hope this guide was helpful in some way, especially if you are a new player, and maybe if you're an old hat at it, you might have learned something a little new yourself. If you did enjoy the video, I ask that you hit that like button, share it with your friends, and click on that little mongoose at the bottom of your screen to subscribe. But for now, this is Mongoose signing off. You guys have a good one.